welcome back to my channel. If you've been following me for a while, you probably noticed that I've been absent on YouTube, and that's just simply because I've been very busy this summer, and I've been taking a little bit of break from the upload schedule. So I apologize if you've enjoyed my content. Not that there's many of you out there yet, but I thought that a good way to get back into it was to get back in on the marble disc project, because I do need to get that finished, and I'm looking forward to getting it finished, because there's no point in starting a new project until I've finished off the old one. I appreciate your patience with the the delay of having anything new and interesting, but if you've been enjoying this series, then hopefully you'll enjoy this content. And I also wanted to show that I've got a new microphone, which is I think going to really improve the quality. It's been bothering me for a while. The sound quality of my videos has been very, very quiet, and I've tried to increase the volume, and it just hasn't been enough. So because they were very underpowered microphones. So now I've upgraded, and really looking forward to how it's going to improve the clarity and the volume of the sound. So that's something new and exciting. But other than that, it's same old, same old. I just looking forward to getting back into thinking about this project, finishing it off, thinking about other future projects coming up. I've got some new ideas that I've been working on, and I've set myself some rules that I won't be finishing, or I won't be starting any new projects until I'm finished my previous projects. So those are the rules I'm gonna have to stick by, because otherwise I'll have lots of unfinished projects and it won't be very interesting. So I hope that everybody's had a safe and productive summer, and try to enjoy themselves as best as they can. I know that not all is well with everyone, and I do appreciate that. And I just know that my thoughts are out there for anybody that is going through hard times. And if anybody wants to have a bit of a distraction to get their mind off of things, starting up their own project is a great way to do it. Engross yourself in your own work, and you create your own little world. And you solve a lot of your problems in the process. most of our problems are all psychological in the first place. Things that we worry about that we have no control over. The one thing that we do have control over is what we do with our hands. That's why I love making things. So what I'm doing right now, if you're just new to my channel and you're interested in what this project is about, what it is that I'm doing right now, is I'm cutting in a fillet into the outer rim of this dish, or this disc. And this project is just merely an ornamental disc made up of two wonderful materials that I thought would go well together. And I came up with this very interesting design, which I'm quite pleased with. And the concept is that it will look quite stunning on a some kind of a stand or a holder, and it's meant to just be a striking display piece, something that'll probably sit at the end of a long hallway on a console, something that has dramatic lighting, just to have the feel or a vibe of something that is very rare and very exotic. Love the idea of being able to create unique items that don't look like they've been made in recent times. I think it's an exciting idea because we can have a lot of fun with that. And it's a great way to use up bits and pieces and scraps of material. That's what I love doing that. I love finding inspiration and having ideas. You have an idea and you just make up a drawing and you get into it. That's the blessing that we have with being skilled and working with our hands. So there's nothing that we can't do. If we can think of it, we can do it. And I apply myself like that in all things that I do in life. It's something that I learned from my grandparents. I think were a great inspiration for me. They were from a generation where they didn't have a lot, but they had a lot of ideas and a lot of skill. And if they wanted something bad enough, they would make it themselves. Which is a wonderful way to live. Not seeing any kind of limitations. So I know that most people probably don't have the ability to comment on YouTube unless you have your own channel. But if you do have your own channel and you'd like to comment, or if you'd like to ask a question, feel free to ask a question. I'm always willing to answer people's questions, and very happy to offer information. So if you have any questions about this project or just anything to do with stone in general, then feel free to drop a comment, and I'd be happy to answer it for you. And it could be anything to do with stone. And if I don't have a direct answer for you right away, then I'll consult with my boss, who is a fountain of knowledge. Between the two of us, I don't think that there's anything to do with stone that we can't answer. So feel free to have any questions, and that can also help me to understand what people are interested in, because it's one of the things that sometimes it's hard to know what kind of content to make, and because it's such a niche genre and there really isn't very much analytical data to tell me what people are even interested in. Yet I do get quite a few views for such a small channel. So it tells me that people are interested in something. But what it is exactly, why you come to my channel, I still haven't quite figured out what you're interested in. So if you could give me any kind of feedback, I'd appreciate it. It would really help me help you to both entertain you and give me some direction as to what kind of content and how to make it in the future. Because some things that I find interesting myself may not be as interesting to others. And it's hard to know, am I making content for industry professionals, do-it-yourselfers, or people who just have a general interest. And let's face it, in these days with YouTube, we seem to be overwhelmed with politics and scandal. And even though I think we all find ourselves clicking on the videos that we watch to our dread, we're always looking for something new, something as a bit of a distraction or to satisfy an interest. And I hope that I can fulfill that for some people. I don't expect a lot of people, but I love my field. I love everything about it. I think it's fascinating. And if I can inspire or entertain others, then I think that's pretty cool. But this winter I do have some interesting projects coming up. So I might be doing some memorials or some lettering, which might be interesting. Once I get more information on that. And I have a lot of ideas. I'm always sketching ideas for future projects. And it's all about trying to decide which one I'm going to do next. You got a creative mind. There's a tendency to go off in 15 different directions if you're not careful. And as it turns out, we've got a lot of work coming up this fall and this winter, which is amazing. And it's wonderful in some regards, but in others, I will have to definitely work very diligently, carefully to try and squeeze in enough time to film content, because most of my work, as I've said before in other videos, most of my work that I do on a daily basis, I really can't film due to all kinds of legal reasons. It's one of the things about when you work for private residences, is that there's a lot of stuff you just can't film, even if I'd wanted to share it. It's just too difficult. So I'd love to be able to, and maybe in the future I might ask for some permissions to film more stuff. But in the meantime, I'm going to try and stick to private work outside of my daily routine. But if you don't see stuff posted on a regular basis, the reason why is because I'm working hard, and but you can always go back and watch other previous videos. I've got a lot of videos that have very low views, so if you're interested, by all means, you can go back and check them out. Sometimes we forget to go back and look at the old catalog of previous videos and channels that we follow, and we look forward to new content, but we forget to go back and look at some of the older content. And since my stuff isn't really time sensitive, it should be pretty much timeless. It's whether I make it this year or I've made it last year or the year before, shouldn't really matter that much. So other than you'll probably see an improvement in the quality of my video making, I hope. So what I'm doing right now is just to fill you in on what it is that I'm actually doing. Is the idea is that this piece of onyx, this piece of onyx is one of many pieces that will be in, and it's notched out and curved, and it'll sit in on this fillet here. And so I'm going to put them on oversized, and then I'm going to trim them back afterwards, because at the end it's going to be very delicate. I don't know if you can see that line there. That's roughly what it'll be cut back to. And then there's going to be these beads shaped along the top, so they'll be sitting on top of the outer edge. So the outer edge will be made up of these delicate little beads, which I think is kind of a cool idea. It's going to be extremely delicate, very finicky. And so I'll try not to bore you with too much content of me making them, but unless of course you're interested, I will show some of it, and then it'll obviously just be a repeat process. But that's really the gist of what it is that I'm doing for the next level, the next stage, which I think is going to be an exciting finish, and it's going to add some interesting depth and dimension to the overall dish, and it's going to catch the light. One of the things about carving is its play of light, and the way it catches light and slows light down, speeds light up in other areas. And the idea being that when you catch and you slow down light, it helps to enhance details. And that's how ancient carvers were able to get great depth with a minimal amount of depth. So you can make something look very dimensional with a very, very little amount of carving stock. And I'll talk about this in the future. But the idea being that if you can harness the light, you use the light to exaggerate the detailing and make things look much bigger and deeper than they really are. And in this case, because light is very translucent and it's going through this material, the idea being that I want to be able to harness and capture the light through these little beads, slow it down before it descends into over the rest of the surface. And I think it should be an interesting way of both illuminating a piece, but also slowing down the light just enough to add some dimension, if that makes sense. But I'll explain these things in the future, in future videos. In case anybody was wondering how I cut these pieces, because I know that I make it seem as though I do all of my work 100% by hand. And the truth is that even though I could, it would take a lot longer. So for cutting pieces of marble or something like that for the rough cutting, what I do is I use a variable speed grinder. And though these should only ever be used by people who have experience using them, so I can't recommend somebody who has never used one to use one, because they can be very dangerous. But if you have any experience using them, then you'll know very well what I'm talking about. So if I was to recommend this to somebody who has never cut marble or stone themselves, I would recommend a tabletop saw, or a tile saw, or some kind of a stationary table mounted saw. Much safer to use, and you have a lot less issues that can come up with them. So they're much safer to use. But the biggest issue with an angle grinder is the binding of the blade. When they do bind, things happen really quickly. You have to have very, very fast reflexes. So I've been using these a long time. I've got a lot of experience, and I've developed techniques that allow me to maximize the effectiveness of the tool while always minimizing the risk. It takes a lot of many years of experience to master a tool in such a way when you're using it freehand. So I can't recommend it, but I can show you how I do it if you're interested. And again, this isn't endorsing this as a practice. It's just showing how I do it. And hopefully that exonerates me of any liability, if you know what I mean. So I already showed you this first piece, and I'll use that as my kind of my model, and I'll cut a whole bunch of these first, and then I'll start adjusting them and fitting them into the rim. And they may be different lengths. So right now, until I've got the actual sizes worked out, I'm just going to cut a bunch of random pieces, and then I'll be able to fit them in. And what will determine the lengths where the joints fall will be the size of the bead. So I'll get the size of the bead based on an even measurement of the circumference of the disc where the beads fall. That will determine the precise, equal, even number of beads. So I know this video has been a little bit longer than I normally post, but since I haven't been posting very much in quite a few months, I thought maybe you'd forgive me for the longer format. But let's see how this goes. I'm not sure if you'll find this interesting or not, but if you have watched up to this point, then thanks so much. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and you're interested in this kind of content, then feel free to subscribe. I always appreciate it. I have lots of very interesting projects coming up in the future, and once I get this one out of the way, you'll see new content coming up. And I may post some other things coming up. I've got some other ideas floating around in my head about tools. I personally have a passion for tools. I'm not sure if everybody watching this has as much of a passion for tools as I do, but it goes hand in hand with working with stone. Is the tools that we use and the tools that you can make. So I love sharing that. It's a lot of fun, and I love exploring that. So I might do some more of that kind of content. And yeah. So if you like this, don't forget to like the button. But until next time, I'm going to keep on working on this one, and see you next time. Thanks. Bye.